What's going on, guys? Today we're going to talk about my favorite gun, the Sig Sauer MCX RATTLER, chambered in 300 Blackout. So when I first bought this, I was between this and the Honey Badger, and I did a lot of extensive research on it because I was like, I really want the best AR pistol that you can buy, and I want a really good home defense gun, and it came down to this and the Honey Badger. So the main differences between this and the Honey Badger, and I'll tell you why I chose this over the Honey Badger. Number one, this is a gas piston operating system. The Honey Badger is a direct impingement operating system. Guns like this, 300 Blackout, that's meant to be run suppressed. So if you're going to be suppressing a gun, I believe having it chambered, having the operating system in gas piston is a much greater benefit because you're going to have a lot less gas coming back in your face, especially when you're talking about getting into shorter barrels, suppressed. I mean, the gas still comes back with this, but it's not nearly as bad as if you had a Honey Badger. I mean, I've seen people shoot those, and I've seen how much carbon gets built up in the chamber there. It's crazy. And don't get me wrong, there's still carbon that gets in the chamber of this, by all means, but it's not nearly as bad. The other thing, again, I've said this before, but this is just one of my things. I like all black. I don't like when the gun's not all black. The Honey Badger doesn't come in black. Wasn't a fan of that. Didn't feel like spending the time, money to go Cerakote it. Price point wasn't the issue. I said I was going to get whichever one actually was better. However, this ended up being a little bit cheaper. This was $2,500. The Honey Badger was anywhere from $3,000 to $4,000 at the time that I was looking, because the supply and demand on it is much greater. It was much harder to find compared to this. I couldn't even get my hands on one at the time. I have since. And getting my hands on one, I realized I definitely made the right decision in getting this. When you go to take this down to clean it, you got one here, one here. Pretty standard AR, upper and lower. The Honey Badger, you have to take it apart kind of like this because there's a spring for the buffer tube, and the spring is like inside here, and if you're not careful, you're going to screw that spring up and the gun won't operate without that spring. So it looked like a pain in the ass. It's not that hard. It's just I like conveniences. I don't like being inconvenienced often. So I figured this is much more convenient. The operating system's a little bit better. It is a little bit heavier than the Honey Badger for sure. However, I'm not running through a forest with this. I'm not 100 pounds. I can handle a little bit more weight on my firearm. It's not something that really bothers me. So comes with a pretty decent collapsible stock. This is the only thing I don't really like on this. I don't really understand why they did this. That kind of sucks. But the rest of it is nice. I like how it folds. You can put this pretty much anywhere. I mean, this thing will fit in cabinets, drawers, fits in a backpack really well if you take the suppressor off. Like a normal size backpack. I have an Oakley backpack that I take this in, and it doesn't give me any problems. I have it outfitted with the Sig Romeo 5 red dot. I may or may not put an EOTech on this. I'm not really sure yet. I have an EOTech on my other MCX, so I might put it on this and see how I like it. And if I do like it, get a second one. This is cool. This is this Surefire Scout Light Pro dual fuel. So Scout Pro Light dual fuel. So the dual fuel means that it comes with a rechargeable battery. And I'm going to explain why that's really cool. Because you're like, oh, when I first got this, I was like, that sucks. I don't want to have to put my gun on the counter as I charge the battery. Well, you don't. And here's why. Surefire is a pretty smart company here. You can charge just the battery with a micro SD cable. And now I think that is really cool, really awesome benefit, really cool feature. And you don't have to have your whole gun on the counter as it's charging. The other reason I would highly recommend you get the dual fuel over the regular Scout Pro is because the dual fuel comes with that battery, which provides an extra 500 lumens. So this light is 1500 lumens. The Scout Pro light is 1000 lumens with the Surefire batteries. I do not have a pressure pad on this yet. I do want to get one. I just haven't yet. And then up front here, I have the Sig SRD 762 suppressor. Quick detach. So the reason it's a quick detach is this little button right here. You press that, screws off nicely, and then you can see the muzzle device I have on there is just how you put the suppressor back on. It's really convenient when you have multiple guns with one suppressor because this is 762, but it fits at 308, it fits 300 Blackout, it fits 5.56. So let's talk about 300 Blackout for a second, because this is a very, very cool round. So in here I have 300 Blackout, 220 grain subsonic ammo from Sig. Over here we have 125 grain supersonic ammo, 300 Blackout from Sig. You put these side by side and you can notice the difference here. You can see this one's a little bit taller, this one's a little bit shorter and fatter. So supersonic, as it comes out of this gun, goes through the suppressor, it breaks the sound barrier. It's moving fast enough to break the sound barrier, so it's still loud. It's not like, I mean, if you shot this unsuppressed, it's insanely loud because it's coming out of a 5-inch barrel. It's much louder than like a 16-inch. But in the bullet, it has a little bit more weight to it than a typical like 55 grain, 62 grain, 5.56 bullet. So very loud, unsuppressed. I've shot it before. Supersonic, unsuppressed. It was crazy loud. When you put subsonic rounds through this with a suppressor, you don't hear anything. All you hear is the bolt racking. And I'm going to go make a video here in a few minutes showing you the differences because it is really cool. It's really fun. Anybody I've ever brought over to shot it or have shown, they always, their jaw hits the floor every time. So hoping I can give you guys that effect here in a few minutes. It's a really great home defense gun, really great home defense round as well. As I've said, it's 220 grain, so it has a lot of kick to it, has a lot of push to it. Not really kick in the gun, but it's got some weight behind the round, and you can feel the difference holding that versus that in your hand. It's a pretty big difference. You have all ambidextrous controls on this gun: safety, charging handle, mag release. I really like that. The bolt catch is only on this side, bolt catch, bolt release over here. But I'm a huge fan of this gun. I like how I have it set up right now. The only thing I might add is the pressure pad and maybe an EOTech versus the Romeo 5 red dot. But this is a great gun. It's a lot of fun, and I'm gonna go shoot it and show you guys the difference in the ammo. So stay tuned.